Since the speech on Monday, 1,000 young, undocumented young males have crossed the English Channel. Does the Prime Minister agree? Now is the time to declare the situation in the English Channel as a national security emergency.
The last government lost control of the borders. We are taking powers. The Borders Bill, precisely to his point, the Borders Bill is the first bill to give terrorism-like powers to law enforcement.
Footage circulating online shows a tense exchange inside the House of Commons between Reform UK leader Nigel Farage and Prime Minister Keir Starmer. During a session of Prime Minister's questions, Mr Farage directly challenged the government's record on immigration, pointing to rising channel crossings, delays in deportation flights, and ongoing talks with Brussels about new migration cooperation. The Prime Minister's reaction drew attention across the chamber. He appeared visibly frustrated as Farage accused Labour of betraying border control promises and misleading the British public. Speaker Lindsay Hoyle was heard calling for order multiple times as voices rose on both sides of the House. Parliamentary staff moved toward the front benches as the Speaker briefly suspended proceedings to restore calm. The footage, now widely shared across social media and news outlets, has triggered intense discussion about leadership, accountability, and the growing pressure on the Labour government. Within hours of the footage emerging, clips of the confrontation dominated social media feeds across Britain. Hashtags linked to the exchange trended on X, YouTube, and TikTok, many highlighting the Prime Minister's reaction rather than his response. Political commentators and talk show hosts weighed in quickly, describing the moment as deeply uncomfortable for Labour and a major boost for Reform UK. In broadcast segments across Sky News, GB News and Talk TV, analysts noted that Mr Farage's calm tone and factual delivery contrasted sharply with the Prime Minister's visible frustration. Supporters of Reform UK praised the exchange as proof that their leader could hold the government accountable inside Westminster. Meanwhile, Labour MPs faced mounting questions from journalists over whether the Prime Minister's reaction reflected deeper tensions within the party. By evening, the debate had moved beyond Westminster, dominating radio discussions and political podcasts nationwide. Inside Westminster, the political fallout began almost immediately. Senior Labour MPs were said to be frustrated that the exchange had shifted the spotlight from government policy to the Prime Minister's personal composure. Party sources speaking to several outlets described a day of damage control, with aides instructed to calm backbench concerns and coordinate public messaging. Behind the scenes, ministers privately acknowledged that the moment had reinforced Nigel Farage's image as a credible challenger rather than a protest politician. Early polling snapshots shared by political analysts suggested a brief rise in interest for Reform UK among undecided voters. Conservative figures, meanwhile, seized on the footage as evidence of a government under pressure, calling the scenes a sign of weak leadership, but critical commentators noted that in just a few hours, a single Commons exchange had reshaped the political conversation and reopened long-standing questions about the Prime Minister's authority inside his own party. Nigel Farage addressed the incident later in a short press statement outside Westminster. Without raising his voice, he said the exchange reflected exactly what millions of voters are feeling: frustration at a government that no longer listens. Farage avoided personal attacks, instead framing his remarks around accountability and transparency in government. Leaders must be able to answer difficult questions without losing control, he said, a line that quickly spread across social media and political talk shows. Reform UK capitalised on the attention, releasing a short campaign clip using footage from the Commons exchange paired with the slogan "Strong Voices for Britain." Within 24 hours, party membership inquiries reportedly surged, while donations to Reform UK's online platform spiked. Analysts noted that Farage's calm tone and strategic timing turned a routine parliamentary clash into a defining moment for his movement's image: disciplined, outspoken, and growing. In the hours that followed, Labour officials moved quickly to contain the fallout. Party spokespeople described the Commons exchange as robust debate, insisting that the Prime Minister had simply stood firm against political provocation. However, that message struggled to gain traction as headlines continued to focus on the Prime Minister's visible anger. Several Labour MPs declined media interviews, while others privately expressed frustration that the government's policy agenda had been overshadowed by the incident. Senior advisers reportedly urged the Prime Minister to lower the temperature and shift focus back to policy, not personality. In public, Labour ministers attempted to pivot the conversation toward immigration reform and cost of living measures, but opposition parties and online commentators kept replaying the same footage. Analysts said the government's response appeared reactive rather than coordinated, reinforcing the perception of a leadership team caught off guard by a single televised confrontation. Major broadcasters continued to replay the Commons footage, ensuring the debate stayed at the centre of Britain's political conversation. As the political dust begins to settle, the Commons exchange continues to dominate national discussion. Commentators say it exposed two competing visions of leadership, one defined by composure and confrontation, the other by authority under pressure. Inside Westminster, party strategists are already assessing the long-term impact. Pollsters report small but noticeable movement among undecided voters, while talk of reshuffles and internal reviews grows louder within Labour ranks. Across the country, the footage has become a symbol of the wider divide shaping British politics, frustration with the political establishment, and a growing appetite for alternatives. Whether this moment fades or becomes a defining point in the next election cycle will depend on how both leaders respond in the weeks ahead. What's clear is that the confrontation inside Parliament has reignited a national debate over accountability, leadership, and who truly speaks for Britain.